Well, hello everyone and welcome in. Welcome in to JW World News Sunday edition. And my goodness, it's a beautiful Sunday up here in Massachusetts. I hope it's nice where you are. And we've had some good conversation here this afternoon on the different programs. But today we got the news, and we're going to talk about the biggest story that's been going on this week in the Watchtower, just released yesterday. Right? You remember it? No more time reporting for the witnesses. That was the biggest news article that I've ever read, I think, on this program in the last 18 years. Well, anyways, my name's Rick Ferrin, and I'm glad you're with us. Boy, did we have a rockin' awesome night last night. We had people calling in from all over the world. I couldn't believe the phone calls. People must be exiting. The Watchtower is hemorrhaging. There's no question about it. It hasn't always been like this. Just 5, 6, 7 years ago, I mean, it was hard even to get anybody to call into this program. Now we have so many people calling in, it's like I don't even have to do a program anymore. The program is all about the people calling in. So anyways, let's get right down to it. Let's talk about a few things, and we're going to play a couple of video clips as well. I think you're going to enjoy them. But I just wanted to bring this out. I wanted to bring this out again once today, as I did last night. We've been hearing, I've got some messages that have been coming into the 6 screens, and it's dealing with evacuation drills. Yeah, you heard me, evacuation drills. Evidently, some kingdom halls around the world are encouraging the brothers to do an evacuation drill. That is to get their emergency go bags ready and to leave the city, the place where the Kingdom Hall is, town or city. Now, I'm not saying this is an actual request from the Watchtower organization for these congregations to do it. It just might be some renegade elders that are checking the loyalty of the brothers. But there evidently is evacuation drills taking place in some of the Kingdom Halls around the world. And I suppose you call it Armageddon training, perhaps. And there's reports that most of the witnesses do have, go bags. They have them ready, like a little emergency go bag where they keep batteries and essentials that you need if you had a flea wherever you would go. At least you'd be able to survive with this bag. Maybe put a jackknife in there, fishing rod, whatever it would be to keep you some sustainable food of some type, whatever it would take. So a lot of the witnesses, most of the witnesses have a go bag. And so now we're seeing that some of the witnesses, some of the congregations around the world are actually practicing these evacuation drills. You see, the witnesses, they're really harping up the idea that they are in the Great Tribulation. I mean, the Great Tribulation, that's always been the gift that keeps on giving, right? I mean, that was supposedly taking place 25, 30, 40 years ago. So we have so many people that now, being Jehovah's Witnesses, really believe that the Great Tribulation is now here. So they're making these evacuation plans. If the governing body tells them they got to get up, and they got to get out of wherever they are. Take your go bag and go. So, it's fear mongering. That's all it is. It's fear mongering at its best. But I just wanted to bring that up anyways. The other big thing I wanted to talk about, that this is showing me how desperate the organization is. They are trying to, as we said just a little while ago, scare people to death. The elders are doing everything they can. The governing body is doing everything they can to stop the hemorrhage. There's so many people leaving the Watchtower right now. It's really taking a toll on them. And they have a message. It's on jw.org broadcasting this month. We were just talking a little bit about it the last program. I'm going to play a video clip because I want you to see the message. And they seem to they're getting into this real judgment mode. That the Watchtower is going to really come out with this message of destruction to humanity. and you better become one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And the message isn't going to be loving. The message is going to be condemnatory. You better become a witness or you're going to die. Then now, in fact, well, let me play the clip. Well, let me play the clip. I think you'll find it very fascinating. Let me just share that with you right now. I'm going to get it on here. I have to share a screen, so just give me a second to do it. So we're going to share the screen, and it's this one right here. JW, where are you? JW.org. Just give me a second. It's this one right here. I got it all prepped up and ready to go. Okay, so this is about an hour and a half clip. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but just about 2 or 3 minutes of it. But just to bring you up to speed, this message of doom, or this hailstone message, whatever you want to call it, that the witnesses are going to be preaching shortly, it's a lot of the witnesses aren't happy about it. Because, who wants to go out and tell people they're going to die? Who wants to go out and tell people you either change your lifestyle and you become a witness and you better change it right now or you're going to die? I mean, do you like making a message like that? I mean, you could get beat up for doing that. You could get killed for doing something like that today. The witnesses, they're gonna pull this off. They're going out and they're telling people they're going to have to change their lifestyle and become a Jehovah's Witness or they're going to die. And now people are being afraid to even be connected with the Jehovah's Witnesses, as this young man in the video is. And let's play the video. Let's do it right now, and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. So let's get the volume up here so you'll hear it. If you're on YouTube and Facebook, you'll see it, but you'll hear it if you're on our radio network. And I'll kind of give you a little commentary on it as well. So let's run the clip. Hold on 1 second. We're just running into a little bit of a problem here, but I have to unmute it. Let's do it right now. And let's play the clip.
Let's see what one brother is moved to do after meditating on their examples.
Showing a brother at a train station sitting there with his witness card, JW.org. People walking by looking at him like he's a creep. The young brother's afraid of the sun, so he puts his coat over the side. He doesn't want people to know he's one of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Good morning. Sorry, I was running behind this police steps.
Oh, no worries. Thank you. I could really use it today.
As he's sitting there and somewhat embarrassed to even be a Jehovah's Witness delivering this message of doom, an older brother comes up and sits next to him and brings him a coffee. And the older brother knows the younger brother doesn't like the message that they're now being instructed to teach or preach. So listen in and listen to what the older brother says. I think you'll find it fascinating.
Were you also thinking about that announcement about the special preaching campaign?
Yeah, I was. Don't take what I'm going to say the wrong way, but don't you think the message we'll be preaching is pretty harsh?
No, I wouldn't say that, but it's definitely very direct.
I mean, people already get defensive whenever you challenge their beliefs, and this is going to be next level.
This isn't going to be the easiest message to deliver, but it's not the first time we've done this.
Really?
Absolutely. I don't know if you remember me telling you that my family's originally from Quebec, and my dad was part of an incredibly hard-hitting witness back in the 40s. I looked this up last night. He had to distribute a tract that called out the local religious leaders as hypocrites.
What were they doing?
They were inciting their followers to mob violence against the witnesses, telling them to vandalize our properties, even getting brothers falsely arrested and imprisoned.
Wow. And they had to distribute that tract during the violence.
They had to. Jehovah wanted to show how unjust their actions were. My dad telling, he said that initially,
Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel. I'm terrified.
it's normal to feel.
Can you believe that? Here's a witness terrified. This message, this preaching campaign they're going into, is terrifying some of the witnesses. They actually did a video on this. It's JW Broadcasting for October. So this message of doom, destruction, it's direct, as the older brother said. The younger brother, he's afraid to even let people know he's one of Jehovah's Witnesses. He's afraid he's going to get beat up. We can stop it right here for now. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and I think you'll find that very fascinating. That the Watchtower would even have a video like this. That's going to discourage people from even wanting to go out and spread this message, right? But they did it, and they're trying to get people to go out and do this. So the message isn't really totally clear yet. We will know probably another month or so what the message is, but it's floating around all over the internet. It's the hailstone message, something of real criticalness to the world. And the Jehovah's Witnesses are going to spread this. And we just had Reese, he was on earlier. When you start delivering a message in a world that's so inclusive right now, I mean, everybody is so sensitive about everything. And you start delivering a message that's not inclusive. In other words, you either become one of Jehovah's Witnesses or you're going to die. Friends, that is not an inclusive message. That message divides people. Some witnesses may get hurt over this. And like I've said numerous times on this program, if you're going to become one of Jehovah's Witnesses, you better start thinking about sending me an invitation to your funeral. I mean, that's how bad things are getting. It's unbelievable what we see. I know I say that in kind of jest, but I mean it. It's getting pretty ugly in the witness world. And then you have a message like this being delivered, as you just heard it on jw.org. It's a message of gloom and doom to the world. But then you have this Robert Hendricks. Well, you see him on some of these YouTube videos. And what they do is he's the PR man for the Watchtower. He works in the Public Information Department. And Robert Hendricks, they buy these commercial spots on local, like out Podunk, Iowa, or some rural area, and they'll buy a little spot on the local news channel, whether it be TV or they'll go to a local newspaper, and they'll pay them to put a nice piece about the witnesses in there. So Hendricks, he never talks about this hailstone message. He never talks about this Jehovah's Witnesses making divisions with people. He talks about how great they are and how the people love the witnesses going door to door and how they're so happy to see the witnesses out there again. It's a completely different message than what they're delivering on jw.org. So I just wanted to bring it up. I mean, there's more I could talk about on that, but I think we're going to have to stay tuned the next couple of weeks because I'd really like to see what this message is. The broadcast really doesn't speak too much about what it is, but I want to hear it. So we'll have to see the next couple of weeks on JW World News. I'm sure we'll be talking about that. I want to move now to this. We got about 15 minutes left. I got a lot here to unpack, as they say. But I'm just going to move to the next thing here because I think it's of interest that we at least play the clip from Samuel Hurd. They had the annual meeting yesterday. The annual meeting of Jehovah's Witnesses it was actually in Newburgh, New York. It was at a Kingdom Hall, from what I understand. They usually used to have it at Stanley Theater. But from what I understand, I'm not sure, but I believe the governing body made the announcement at a Kingdom Hall in Newburgh, New York. But I'm not sure. But anyways, an announcement was made by Samuel Hurd. He's the governing body member. And it was quite an announcement, I have to say that. And let's see if we can't get that up, because I think you'd want to see that too, right? Well, yes, you would. So let me get this so we can share it. Give me a second here, and we will do that. I have to go to my stream. It just takes me a couple of seconds, and we'll get to it. So we're going to show you the actual clip from Samuel Hurd yesterday on him talking about the Watchtower now expunging or deleting the idea of reporting time. So let's listen to Samuel Hurd, and then we'll open the lines up with some thoughts from you, the audience. So let's play Samuel right now. Let's play it. There he is there. Get the YouTube clip up so it's here. Well, let me do that so you'll be able to hear him and see him good. Let's make a screen here. Well, let's listen to Samuel Hurd right now. Let's play it.
An Israelite, unfaithful, because his
But he's talking about tithing. And he says in the old days of the Israelites, people would tithe, give the church, the temple money. And, nobody really questioned who was given what. It was kind of like a private thing. Nobody questioned how much money you gave. So he's going to go about now tying this idea of no time reporting, tying it in with tithing, where, no one questioned what you gave. So he's going to more or less tell you that the organization shouldn't be questioning how much time you put in. But you listen to him and you see if you really believe everything being said here. Listen to him.
Circumstances and abilities are different. Brother Loesch explained that although tithe is tithe, tithing was entirely between the individual Israelite and Jehovah. Our ministry involves much more than counting time. For this reason, we are pleased to announce that beginning November the 1st, 2023, congregation publishers will no longer be asked to report the amount of time they spend in the ministry, nor will publishers be asked to report their placements, the videos they show, or their return visits. Instead, the field service report will simply have a box that will allow each publisher to indicate that he or she shared in any form of the ministry during the month. There will be one Bible studies they conduct. This simplified report serves a valuable purpose. It will allow us to know the numbers in each land. It will also help us to know whether certain territories are producing Bible studies and where there is a greater need for pioneers, special pioneers, missionaries, and kingdom halls.
Okay, there you have. We'll stop sharing that one. So there you go. So that was Samuel. Yes.
Well, he mentioned, I listened to that again, and he mentioned that would help them identify where the increases are happening. I don't believe that. I think they're going to identify where things are decreasing and shut them on down.
Just the opposite. Just the opposite.
Yeah, just the opposite. And then there was another thing too that, man, I just hit my head and then it went out. But yeah, that is that they want to identify where that plus here it is. That is going. The stuff is floating out there that their business model doesn't work. You said that many times, and it works, and you're right. You go back. I got a deal on my Twitter feed. Back in the 90s, it took them 2,000 to 3,000 hours. Someone did a deal on it, and for every publisher. In 2023, it is about 10,000 hours. That's very easy to do. You just divide the number of publishers with the hours, and there you go. Anyway, now that number of hours has come way down because the publishers aren't going to report. It's only going to be the auxiliary pioneers and the pioneers that report. So that number is way going to say, oh, wow, it's more effective now because we don't have to spend as much time. Look at the time. We're not spending as much time in the ministry yet. We're getting publishers, the same amount of publishers.
Yeah, no. Yeah, just another way to finagle the books, another way to cook the books. Well, of course, the witnesses are going to realize, well, of course, there's not going to be as many hours. Because, in fact, just to let the audience be of it, he's saying the publishers, including the elders, will not have to report time. He said the pioneers, the missionaries, regular pioneers, the circuit overseers, they'll have to report time. So it's kind of ironic here. You know, at first we heard it, we all took it and thought it was wonderful that this happened. We wish it happened when we were witnesses, but there might be some hidden agenda here. I don't know. But I think really, like you say, Chewy, it's a way to kind of cover some stuff up, cover their low numbers up, and get away with it. They have to try every trick in the book. Thank you, Chewy. Hey, anyone like to comment on that at all? What do you think? What do you think about them changing that? We got about 10 minutes to talk about it. I believe it's not being done as a courteousness to help the Jehovah's Witness. I think it's being done to cover up misgivings, to cover up their low numbers. What do you think? You're on with us. Go ahead. Yes.
Mr. Barron?
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, Rick. Oh.
Okay, Christine, hold on. We'll go with, go ahead. Who was the gentleman on there first? Who was that?
This is Stephan.
Yes, Stephan.
Good afternoon. So I totally agree, and I think everybody's kind of hit it on the head. We probably won't know at all exactly what the reason is for no longer counting time, whether it's because the numbers are so low, what bothered, or it's because maybe is trying to change how they do their accounting. So instead of the number of hours, just people just going out is enough. We probably won't know, but whatever the reason is, it has nothing to do with the witnesses and making life a little bit easier for them, because watchtowers, as we know, could care less about the rank and file. Secondly, I just want to say something really quick. This goes back to your previous program when Albert chimed in and Reese, and they were talking about how the CSA in Pennsylvania might go all the way up to the governing body members. And then I was just thinking, this message of doom that you're saying they're going to start proclaiming, I would expect that if the CSA does, if I go up to the GB, maybe the Anthony Morris, that they're going to try to spin all of that as persecution, because it could never be that they're actually just getting they're breaking the law and they're getting what lawbreakers get. It's got to be persecution. So maybe they're setting themselves up right now with the message of doom, because that's going to cause persecution. Then when the CSA hits, they'll blame that on the persecution as well, because that's how they operate.
Stephan, that is amazing. That I never thought of that. That is an amazing thought. Geez, that's true.
Yeah, we'll keep our eyes and ears open, but that's what I expect in the future. Thanks, Rick.
Yeah, boy, now you got my head spinning here. I believe that. Hey, Christine, and we'll have the call again.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Rick. I agree with just that comment just made. I agree with him. But I also wanted to mention that caller on your last show, Florida, the one that you're going to interview, he made a good point, because when you really think about it, they're not changing the reporting process. You still have to report. So just because they say, well, you don't have to report the hours, but now you have to report the activity. Okay, so it's basically a trick in the sense that, you know, they have to answer to authorities for probably tax purposes and show that, you know, that it's a charity organization. That's basically, the charity is the work. So as long as they have, like he brought out, you know, I did street work, or I did informal work, or I did calling, or I did letters, or whatever. It probably gets them through in a good status, you know, with the charity status, so they can get the tax status. So I agree with that. But just one more point I wanted to make, and that is, this has all been blown up, you know, all over the XP world. It's on every channel. Everybody's talking about it. But I thought about it. I'm trying to use my critical thinking here. If you look at the big picture, none of that is a issue where that causes extreme damage to visuals. So it's made a big issue now, but really in the sense that the shunning, the blood policy, and the three things: shunning, the blood policy. The time thing is not going to make it better. It's not affecting the real issues that are going on in this dark, destructive, you know, people destroying organization. And so I just wanted to share that because I'm trying to use my critical thinking and put all these things in place. And all these little changes they make are just tricky little changes, and they don't, like the brother or the person before brought it up, it's for their own purposes, not for the benefit of the members. So that was my thought. And
Well, it's a good thought. You're a sharp lady. I've told you that before, Christine. You are a critical thinker. You're very sharp. So we always love to have your input. That means a lot to us. Thank you. Thank you. All right. We had one more gentleman. One more who come on.
On the head. They hit the nail on the head. It's preparing them for what's going to happen in Pennsylvania, because we know what's going to happen, okay? And also the sister that was on before me. But think about this. You can have her out there that goes out there in an hour, but he don't go out there. Maybe he puts on 3 to 4 hours, but he don't go out. He's just putting that on there. But if you put on a Bible study, or if you put on a Bible study or something, oh yeah, you're active. That is active is a producer. You know?
Yeah.
Producer. They're trying to figure out who's doing 80%, who's doing the 20%. How do that?
Well, okay. Hey, you know, I'll tell you what, though. Chewy, I'll tell you, my head, I'll tell you, I'm learning so much today from the callers. But Christine and the man before him, Stephen, that makes sense to me. Now this message of doom is making sense. When you start seeing the governing body lugged off to prison, well, you know, just like they did back with Rutherford, you know, where they were preaching and nobody liked that message, you know. On the other hand, they're big-time pedophiles. Boy, oh boy. Same thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, according to the J. I'm sure if we look forward to the first.
Oh yeah, of a young man, of a young man actually covering up the JW.org sign on their video off of their web. Hey, we might have time for one more. Did one more person want to? Yes, it looked like 615. Go ahead, 615. You're on with us.
Oh, hey, sorry. I had a comment earlier, but it's kind of been taken, and it's all good.
Oh no, listen. I mean, did you hear that? Did you hear Stephen what he said? Because I was talking about this hailstone message that's going to be coming out to the world. Jehovah's Witnesses are going to give them this terrible message to mankind. Did you hear what Stephen said? That maybe they're prepping people ahead of time so that when we see body and some officials of the watchtower being lugged off to prison, well, it's for persecution. For us telling the people that Armageddon's coming. What do you think of that?
Yeah, in fact, I did hear that, and Desiree and I feel the same way too. We talked in private, you know, and we also feel like that their numbers are so bad that they're trying to cover it up and just get rid of the reports, because like anytime that this is the same old con always gone through as Jehovah's Witnesses, next Jehovah's Witnesses. They keep telling us that it's for our benefit. Why didn't you do it a long time ago? It took you 140 years to figure out that it's not biblical to report time out in service, really, and that's all you give us. You don't tackle the disfellowshipping arrangement like the sister talked about, or the two-witness rule and everything else that they have wrong, the policies that are causing suicides and mental illness. It's unbelievable. These people, you know, I know a lot of Christians don't believe in karma necessarily, because that's a different mythology or whatever. But I do kind of believe it. At least you read what you sow. And Jehovah's Witnesses have bad karma coming to them. You can't cover up child sex abuse. You can't family. People afraid of being a gun owner and protect sacrifice your young ones or your family for the country. You can't have all these things going on and not fight and ask for it. And that's how I really feel. I feel like we're watching the demise of Watchtower. Everything that they do, it's like they're drowning, desperately trying to get a little bit of air before they completely.
Well, it's a good way to
people to do crazy things in the future, and my family's going to be one of them. They're going to be really stupid, Rick. They're gonna die for this religion, for this cult, and I know they will. I'm not saying they're gonna die, but they have that mentality. I almost have to be like an adult to my parents and be like, "Hey, Martin and Debbie Hubler, if the governing body told you to jump off a bridge, would you?" It's like, you know, they're grown-ass adults in their 60s. They should know this. They should know that.
absolutely.
It is wrong. So,
No, you can rant. Appreciate it. Well, thank Mountains. We have got a great program coming up next. It's called the Christian Court. Now, don't let it scare you. Don't just going to be trying to do all afternoon. This is a program, believe me, 2 Christian scholars coming on, and they're going to be dealing with peculiar Christian questions. So I thought we'll see you in the program right here. Thank you for coming into JW World News. And the last one on leaving the watchtower. Please. Just having okay, we're going to end the stream right now. Stream. All right, that stream is ended.